Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, before we do start, let us give a brief little review. In the last part, a number of events have happened. Now, we had Deku, and we also had Kendo. These two went on a date, where Deku, he learned an alien was tailing him, and he had to transform in the men's bathroom to be able to take it down. Now, Deku scanned the alien. It is now one of his transformations. However, using Goop, he was able to fight it and get it to retreat. And that was very alarming. He turned back into a human in the parking lot, and it ran off. And Deku tried to salvage what he could of his date. And Kendo was kind of alarmed that an alien attack happened at the mall. So, this certainly is bad. Now, the two went to Burger Shack and tried to salvage it by getting something to eat and also getting a milkshake. And that was at least a little bit more fun. Kendo did have to admit something though. This was the first time she's ever been on an actual date. And it was nice. Now, with that being said, while Deku was doing that, Bakugo, Mina, and Kai, these three, they were doing their own thing. They were trying to track down the leads Ken left for them on his badge, or on the plumber data drive. Now, the disk had a lot of data, a lot of people they can track down and possibly try to find. And this does mean quite a bit. Now, with that, let's cut back over to Deku. While those three were on a road trip, he was standing there in the parking lot. Rhino Kendo getting into her dad's car as she said turn to him. Her saying something as Deku doesn't bring his hand up. Him waving the two off as Rhino Kendo does turn back to her dad. Her asking a question about exactly what's going on. And her dad, he's a bit more concerned too. He heard about what happened at the mall, and he does want to know if she's safe. Now, with that being said, currently her dad doesn't talk about it. He's a bit skeptical about her dating that boy, especially because of what it might actually mean for her. Now, her dad, he's being a little bit more overprotective, but he's also trying to be more cautious. This is his baby girl, and he is worried, especially because of what boys her age might have in mind. Now, with that, currently the two to drive off. Them somewhat talking back and forth about her possibly having a romantic involvement with that guy. Now, Deku, he is a bit more surprised though. He salvaged a date. Though, talking to her later, maybe seeing if they can hang out again. I mean, it's an option, but too soon? Too soon might seem clingy, but not clingy. Well, they did have this date be ruined. So, next time, not the mall. Right. Though he should probably put a rain check on that. Deku gonna turn. Him looking around. And Deku, he has a pulled his plumber badge, going to actually dial in information for Kai. And currently they all are traveling in Bakugo's car. Kai, having her badge, begin to beep as she'll bring it up. Her looking at it, seeing Deku's information, and they're gonna flip her badge. Her bring it back up, asking, "Yep, what's up? Hey, I've got a bit of a situation here. Your date go bad?" Mina turning her head. Her looking over and asking if he's okay. "Yeah, I'm fine. Listen, I ran into an issue. I think something's after me." "You're not talking about the girl? Kendo was your name?" "Yeah. Me and her were at the mall and something was stalking me. I think it's after the watch. So, it's an issue. Though, that's not the worst part." "Okay, other than your sour date, what happened?" "It didn't..." "Kai, my date went fine, but that's not what this is about. It can shapeshift, mimic people. It mimicked a human and walked into the bathroom to catch me, though I was ready for it. I got a scan off of it, but I need the database in your ship. Okay, well, that's good. Hurry to type a few things in. I'll send over the coordinates for the ship, but you should know. Data doesn't update because I turned off a few things. I'm not technically in the system, but I do have it all hard backed on my ship. It's in the hard drives? Yeah, but as long as I'm disconnected, nothing updates. So the information is considered old. But it's all practically new. I mean, it shouldn't update every day, but when it does need to be changed, things are changed. Right. Thanks. I'm gonna head there. See if I can find a lead on this. Maybe after I do, catch up with you guys. You guys find any leads? Not too many. So far, we're trying to track down the nearest badge we have, but that's an issue. Nothing pops up so far. Bucko talking about it. He's pretty sure this person keeps moving, whoever they are. The thing is, they're moving fast. So the real problem is actually trying to get them to stay in one place long enough. I mean, yeah, they're still on the way there, but they're about an hour out. Right, right. Okay. When I find more information, I'll catch up with you guys. I'll land the ship somewhere nearby. Alright? Don't scratch it. Kai, if I scratch it, you can charge me the bill. Alright? They're gonna hang up. And Kai does stare down her badge. Her turning her head to Mina. So what? He's okay. Her gonna lean back, talking about it. Though it is an issue. Something's after him. It might use that girl to get to him too. You really think... Oh, you actually do care. Why did you think I wouldn't? Listen, Shut up. Now, Kai doesn't want to keep talking about it. Her trying to egg Mina on a little bit. Now, Bucko, he does still drive. And he's still got a lot of things running through his head. His father was a plumber, and his mom hid that truth. A lot of the shit he did in space, he wouldn't have had to do if he simply reached out to the law. And it's interesting to him. How his life could have changed, how he could have been, how he could have used these abilities. Learning he was an alien messed with him for quite some time. Though, this is all new. All of it. Not being the bad guy. Actually trying to be the good guy again. It's a little nostalgic, but it just doesn't feel right. Best, it just doesn't settle well with him. Now, that's going through Bakugo's head. And Deku, he does get a transform. Him using Jet Ray and flying through the city. Him making his way towards Kai's ship. And whenever Deku does get to land, he does get to get on board. Him gonna sit down at the terminal and turn himself back into a human. As currently, he's trying to think about a few things. Him bringing up his watch. And waiting for the Omnitrix to somewhat recharge. There's a lot to think about when it does come to this thing. Right. It didn't smell weird. It smelled normal. Or, well, does he have a nose when he's really Goop? Sensory organs aside, there was no strange smell, but the consistency of it. It was watery, but not too watery. It had a consistency sort of like if you added flour to eggs or... No. That it was more like mud or... Well, mud's all clumped together and holds the water, but the way it looks like it was melting over itself. A lot more like sludge, actually. So, a sludge monster. Alien? Yeah, whatever. Okay, so Deku gonna actually type in some keywords. Purple, small eyes, and size alteration, and shape shifting. And Deku, he does start to see quite a few things begin to pop up. And it's kind of intriguing. And Deku, he does get to see a name for this particular creature. It having two different photos. The species, it is gendered, male and female. So that's certainly something. It's not a asexual species like how Big Chill is. So there's that. Well, okay, so let's see. Okay, okay. They could begin to read. Some of this information is quite strange. Though, from what I can tell from it, the smaller eyes and the lack of horns, those things on the head, it means that the one that attacked him was male. And, right, so if it was male, then. Okay, wait. In the years following the war between the plumbers and. Okay, the Lenopen, they sealed their agreement to end the war with a peace treaty 22 years ago. Now, Deku, he does see a lot about the species. Compared to humans, these things are very powerful. Size alteration, density alteration, and practically near to invulnerability. Cut them apart, dice them up like meat, and they just melt back together like goop. It's impressive and highly dangerous. Though goop does have acidic qualities, these things don't. So he does have the advantage. Though he also tried to look into any weaknesses they might have, and he finds something quite clear. Electri- Electricity. That is their main weakness. Though Deku, he's also trying to come up with other ideas. Big Chill can freeze them, and that's good. With shit, feedback would be really good to have too again. Maybe ask Asmith for the code. Right. Hmm. Let's see. Feedback can do that. Jerry can blast them apart, and that won't work. Spider Monkey can't contain them. Humongousaur. That'd be a bigger challenge, actually. Let's see, though. Hmm. Now, Deku, his only real counter to this is Big Chill. And that so far is good. Goop is good too, but he's not as versatile. And that it does go through Deku's mind. And currently Deku, he is looking through a lot of information. As right now someone they do detect his phone. And Deku, he does actually turn and look down at it. Him going to see Kendo texted him. And right now Deku, he does gotta do one thing. He has gotta look down and see it. It right now asking if everything's alright. And Deku, he has to pick it up. Him actually going to text back. And Kendo, she's mainly concerned about what happened at the mall. I mean, it was a bit freaky. And Deku, he does agree. It was strange. And Kendo does want to talk about it more with Izuku. She actually wants, well, her dad to meet him. Since her dad, he's kind of not approving of Izuku, and Deku's a little confused. And Kendo just tried to explain. She told her dad about Izuku, and her dad thinks that Deku, he sort of carries himself strangely. She doesn't know the best way to say it, but it's just, he saw Izuku and he feels like he knows the type of guy he is. But she thinks differently than that. And Deku, he does somewhat understand. Now, Kendo, though, she's more concerned about possibly making a second date, that actually does go a bit better. And Izuku can understand. However, he just refers to it as them hanging out. And Kendo, she can kind of understand. I mean, maybe they could do something again next week, or maybe just figure something out when they're both free. And Deku does agree. Now, currently Deku, he could actually turn grabbing his Spawner badge. Him typing something in, as to pick it up and turn, walking over to the ship's controls. Now, currently Deku, he does think of a few things. As right now, he does go to pilot the ship and get it up into the air. Right now, Mina's badge gonna buzz. Her pulling it out and flipping her wrist. It gonna answer as Renner says to ask him what. Her gonna actually bring the badge up onto her chest. And Deku does start to talk about it. He discovered quite a bit of things, though it is a bit weird. What do you mean? Not really too sure. Listen, I'm heading your guys' way. As far as I've got right now, though, maybe whenever we're out and about, I try and find it. See where it's at? Maybe if I transform into it, it will come and attack me. From what it does say, these things don't like humans. And if it's after me, then it won't like me impersonating it. Now, Deku currently is flying the ship. And he does put in a preset destination right now to set it down at. Him pressing autopilot as he has to stand back up. Him gonna stretch. And currently Deku, he does want to at least get a hold of this thing's power. He saw what it can do, and the database does tell him quite a bit about it. So, turn into it and see what he can do. Yeah, that is definitely a good idea. Though it will be interesting. Now, everyone, they are somewhat talking. They've been trying to catch up with this guy, but from what they do know, he's a heat blast. And Deku's surprised hearing about that. He's running and moving fast. But what's weirder is the fact that the area they're in, it's kind of cold. And that does somewhat alert Deku. And he does understand. Right now the ship, flying through the air, as it'll land in a spot that people won't be able to find. And Deku, here's what'll walk out. Him currently gonna walk out, bring his hand up to the watch, and turn into Big Chilled. Deku going to change, as Renner does stand there and fly off. Him going intangible, as it'll fly through the forest straight, and at top speeds. Now, currently Deku doesn't hold his badge. Him going to actually connect it down to his chest, as he does think about a few things. And over Deku, he goes flying up into the air, he has a look around. Currently him seeing something streak across the sky, as is bright. And Deku, he does a good stare at that. Now, Izuku, he's going to bring his hand down, grabbing his badge and pulling out the map. Currently him watching the dot fly fast away from him. And Deku, he's going to zoom out a bit. Him going to turn and fly directly after it. And Mina is trying to catch up. Her currently flying on a disc as she does bring her hand up. Her trying to yell out to this person, they're not here to attack. And Deku, he does try to tell Mina about how maybe that's not the best thing to start with. Now, currently the heat blast is flying fast, and they do actually just won't stop. Them going to turn and look behind them. As Deku, he is going to fly up. Him still intangible, trying to express they're not here to hurt him. Who's there? Listen, I don't want to hurt you, but I will. Stay back. Hey, listen. Just Deku reappearing. Chill. Now, the person are a lot more alarmed, since fucking Mothman is standing in front of them. And currently Deku's bring his hands up, talking about it. Him gonna step forwards. Listen, they don't want to. Him gonna blast out. And Deku, he has a turn intangible. The fire flying right through him as it smash down and light up the grass. And Heat Blast, he has this won't stand there. A lot more alarmed. Deku going to actually fly forwards and directly through him. Right now, him being covered in ice as his flames, they do start to die down. Him, so I'm going to fall forwards a lot more alarmed. Especially because it just got really cold. And his fire, it just got turned way down. Now, there actually is water running off of him. As Deku, he has a turn, walk back over, and bend down. Right now, him going to stare down at his chest that does have a plumber badge right on it. And Deku just going to talk about it. Him holding up his own badge. And the person they stare at that. Them alarmed. Before, they do to heat back up and explode with fire. Deku being sent flying backwards as it flap into the air. Him currently going to reach down and grab the badge. And whenever he does put it onto his chest, he does notice that there's two. And Deku is going to talk about it. That one would be his. Him floating back down. And Mina does come flying down. Right now, her going to land and bring her hands up. Deku bring his hand up telling her not to attack him. He's talking. They just want to talk. Listen. Deku bring up his right hand, tapping onto the Omnitrix and turning back to human. They're not here to hurt him. You're like me. Now, Alan does get to turn the fire off, and Deku does talk about it, stepping forwards and bringing his hand out. If he can have his badge back, that'd mean a lot to him. Your badge? But you have one of these too. Wait, so that means you're also half alien? You see, that's more complicated. I'm not half alien. I can just turn into them. But listen, it's a lot to explain. Bakugo running up. And currently there actually also is Kai, who she is a bit more annoyed. They've been chasing this guy for a bit of time. And now he's finally willing to talk? Great. Maybe they should just flash their badges first. Though there wasn't a perfect opportunity for that. Now, Deku, he does try to explain the plumbers, and exactly what this guy needs to properly know. And Alan, he's having trouble believing it. A secret intergalactic police force? Yeah. Though, then again, him randomly having a quirk activate, maybe, well, his mom did say this wasn't a quirk. Though he's still having trouble believing her about all that. Or is this some sort of... No. This isn't some sort of mutation. He didn't have a mutation quirk. Now, Alan does a stare at Deku, ask him a simple question. And around Deku, he has a turn, as he has to see Kai. Kai right now going to walk over and look at something. As Deku, he does get to turn his head. Alan, staring at Deku, asks him if he's okay. I'm fine. Listen, let's just head back to the ship. Maybe see about a few things. Now, Kai's going to turn, blasting out at something, as a sound does echo. And everyone, they do turn, watching as D and aliens, they are beginning to come into the area. Now, Deku, he's a lot more alarmed. And right now, everybody, they do actually turn and see what's going on. Alan, thinking that this might have been a setup, turning back to Deku, who is going to bring his hand down and grab onto the Omnitrix. I'm going to tell Alan that they need to take these guys down. And Alan, he doesn't believe it for a second. Him thinking that Deku and these guys might all be on the same team. However, Deku does try to make it quite clear. That's not the case. These guys aren't with them. Now, currently Deku, he does have a lot going through his head. And he does go to transform. Right now, him going to turn directly into Chroma Stone. Now, Deku, he does just stand there. And Alan is going to watch on, since that's a different alien. And Deku, he does talk about it, bringing up his own hands. Right now, they need to defend. And he wants to know, does he know how to fight? Yeah, I can, but why? Listen, heat blasters go with fireballs. Make them in your hands and throw them. Along with that, use earth to fly. What do you mean? They go blasting out. Him taking a shot to the chest does it absorb it. Him going to actually bring his hand up and think about that for a second. Nice. Him going to blast back with a lot of power. Turning back to Alan, telling him, with a piece of earth under his feet, he gains more control. Try that. Him bringing his hand down and slicing into the ground as he has to cut out an area. And Alan does a stare down at it. And Deku, he has a turn running into battle. Alan gonna walk over and try to focus for a second. Him going to actually, feel the ground. And he does find this to be quite alarming. Him gonna float into the air, as it definitely does feel a lot better. It feels kind of like he's, not riding a bike, but a skateboard? Kinda. Though, this is definitely a lot cooler. Now, Alan does a smile, since this is some definitely good advice. Now, currently as I turn, flying up in the air and bringing his hands up. Him seeing the alien forces beginning to move forwards. And Mina actually is trying to get up in the air. Her tossing out some of her attacks, as Renabako, he is trying to at least focus on a few things. Him going to actually run over and smash one of the aliens in the face. And there actually is Kai. Kai is talking about a few things. Her currently bringing up her blaster and blasting out into the aliens, taking some of them down as they are trying to advance. Right now her breath being able to be seen. And she also doesn't stare down at that. Her talking about how it's colder here too. Way more than before. And Deku, he has a turn, telling Kai, that must mean they're getting close. Though, whatever's going on here must not be good if they're involved. Now, Deku, he has to see Alan flying overhead. Him, going to see something in the distance and turn, talking about what he does see. And Deku, he does want to understand. Him making his way that direction as Alan starts to fly through the air. Him being shot at by more and more DNA aliens. Now, Deku, he has run to the situation. Currently the aliens, they are all blasting towards him. And Deku's to bring his hands up. Him covering his face with his arms. As right now, they just fire into him. Deku absorbing more and more of the energy. Before, he has to bring his own hands up and blast out as he has to bring his hands together and then spread them apart. Currently all the aliens being sent flying backwards as their cover is blown. Quite literally. Now, Deku, he is stepping forwards. But we used to see the massive pylon in front of him. And it looks like it was on the blueprints. And this isn't good. This thing is making it cold. And he can actually tell. Currently this being where Kaido's gonna run up. Her axis won't shaking, talking about it. And Deku does a turn. Him actually gonna ask where Mina is. And Mina, she's come running up. Her actually throwing on her hand and blasting an alien which was rushing at Deku. And Deku, here's a turn. Him gonna actually smile at Mina, telling her, nice shot. Though, he does want to ask if she's got anything ready for this. What do you mean? We have to take it down. It's changing the weather. I have an idea. Do you trust me? Always. Her gonna won't smile. And Deku, here's a turn back around, telling Mina, they need to shoot him with all they've got. And Mina does somewhat get confused. As right now Bakugo, he does come running up. Him running past and bringing his hands out onto the pylon. Him trying to turn into the metal as trying to try and bend down. Him trying to pick it up as Deku, he does think. Maybe Humongous Sword could be good here. Though actually trying to test the output of these powers. They're also good. Now, Deku, he does actually bring his hands together. Him beginning to charge up as Mina and Kaido stare at Deku. Them looking at each other, we're going to blast right into his back, and Deku just beginning to absorb more and more energy. Him looking up and telling Bakugo to move out of the way. Bakugo turning back. Him actually going to fly down onto the ground as there's a blast out onto it. Currently the pylon being smashed into as Deku is cut upwards. Now, the thing is starting to explode. And everyone, they do actually try and take a bit of a step back. This massive thing gonna fall over and crash down into the field. Now, the aliens, they're not happy. and some of them, they do start to try and retreat. However, Deku, he does look around. Him trying to actually turn and make sure they don't get away. Now, Deku, he has to transform back into a human. And right now, Alan is going to fly down, trying to understand what's going on. And Deku, he does try to talk about it. They don't know what's going on, but they need to follow them. They need more leads. And Alan, yeah, he's a bit more surprised by this. However, he does understand. And Deku, he does try and give Alan an order. Follow them right now and they'll follow him. They can track his badge. That's how they found him. And Alan's a lot more shocked by that, since it does explain how they kept getting to him. Now, Deku, he currently does a turn. Him telling the team about what they need to do. And Bakugo, he does understand. Him going to turn back to human and walking over, bringing his hand up and pressing a button on his keys, calling his car over to them. Now, everyone they do get to the car. And Bakugo, he has to drop them off at the ship. With Alan giving chase to them, they shouldn't be okay. Find out where they're headed to, and find out where their headquarters actually is. Though, that's a bit more concerning. Now, with that being said, they do go to get back to the ship, and Alan's badge, it stops outside of a city, and it's a bit more concerning. Currently, them gonna fly over and actually land. And Bakugo decided to drive his car, a lot less conspicuous. And whenever he arrived, he actually tried to talk to Alan, understanding where everybody might be, where the aliens might be. But he was trying to just tell them, this is as far as he got. When he actually tried to go into the city, some people, well, I mean, the cars all just started to blend in. He just flew over and lost them. And Bakugo's a bit more annoyed. Him trying to give Alan a little bit of shit, but there actually is Deku. Deku does come walking up. Him trying to express to Bakugo, don't blame him. They know they're in this city at least. So, they just gotta work a little bit harder. Though, it does mean quite a bit. Easy for you to say. Do you even know where we should start looking? Maybe. Listen. I don't know a lot right now. We're still getting information, Bakugo. Don't be gung-ho about all this. Sure, right. Sure. I'll be sure to do that. Listen, Izuku. I've been trying to figure out all this stuff. I got my own problems, and now I have a bone to pick with you. Really, right now? Yes, right now. My dad was a plumber. Now, they're going to stare Bakugo a lot more surprised. And Bakugo, from that reaction, Deku did not know that. And Bakugo, he actually does somewhat relax a bit. Deku wasn't hiding that information. Though, it's definitely annoying. Fact is, he wouldn't have known if he didn't talk to his mom. If he didn't see that location on a fucking badge. And currently Bakugo, he's got a lot going through his head. Him talking about how he's gonna leave now. Maybe then, he'll be able to sort some things out. He'll try and get some contacts and get into contact with anybody here in this town. Though, if he can't get contacts or find anyone who wants to buy some alien tech, he'll let them know. For right now, though, it's going to take some time, and they don't have a lot of it. If there are pylons like that all over Earth, then they are going to be invaded. These things are here for more than their resources, and that's a problem. Now, Bakugo, here's how he'll walk back over to his car. Him gonna get in and drive off. And Deku doesn't see that. Bakugo speeding down the road as Deku hears a turn to see Alan. And Deku, he does try to talk about it with him. He tried to do his best, but being a giant flaming guy in the middle of the air in the middle of the night, it's hard to follow and be secretive. It's really hard to tail someone like that, especially because they're probably looking for someone like that. Listen, he doesn't blame him for not catching those people, though maybe they should probably give him some proper training on how to use his powers. It would definitely be helpful. Besides, if they're going to have him be a part of their team, it's going to be very complicated. And Alan, he's still kind of surprised and alarmed by a lot of stuff happening. This is way out of his element. And Deku, he does understand. Maybe tomorrow or whenever he has free time, they can actually help him understand these things. But for right now, it's very complicated. And Deku decides to bring up his watch. Him would actually tap into it, and seeing if his watch will probably scan Alan. Maybe give him access back to Heat Blast? He has Swamp Fire, but if he actually has access to Heat Blast, then he can give him some proper training. Show him some things that he's actually done before. On the Omnitrix, it isn't complying. And Deku's a bit more annoyed. Stupid thing. Whatever. Now, Alan, currently he doesn't fly back home. And Deku, he knows he's going to say goodbye to him. As Mina, Kai, and Deku do go back aboard the ship. And currently Kai is going to drop these two off. As we do actually have Deku, who he has to lay down in his bed. After a night of patrol and being out in the cold, after being big chilled, and then Chroma Stone, yeah, a nice warm shower definitely was the right idea. That going through his head. And Deku, he does try to think about a lot. They tracked him down to a small town. So that's good. They're operating from there. So far, that tells them quite a bit. Though, maybe try and track down the Forever Knights. See if they have information about possible alien tech dealings. It would be a good idea. Handle all of that, then find out a lot more. And that does go through Deku's mind. Currently, I'm going to sit up after hearing his badge make a sound. Deku bringing his hand down, grabbing it, and seeing Mina's information. Flipping it down and going to answer. Hello? Hey, you're still awake. Yeah, I am. So, what's up? Not much. I have a lot going through my head. I picked up on traces of mana, but I don't know too much. I'm trying to find out more, but it's been difficult. I tried scanning the metals, but so far, nothing I can trace. Track down? Right. But what about, the message from Gramps? Nothing on that either. It's faint, but I can't track it. You can't? I mean, not strong enough. The message was recorded a while back, and it's been in contact with so many different people. It's got tons of mana on it. Trying to track his down is hard. Right. Sorry. It's just, I'm worried. I know. Listen, though. We'll find him. I'm sure he's still alive. I know. I'm just worried is all. Deku gonna stand up. Trying to talk to me no more. It's just there's a lot he's trying to plan out. Find out. Bakugo's dad was a plumber, so he wants to give Bakugo some more trust. Though he's not too sure if he can count on him right now. It might just be them again on their own. Though Kai can be pretty helpful too. She's got data and information they can use to their advantage. But so far, the hybrids he's pretty sure they are called in the database. not much information is known. The information's been locked out of, but maybe they can find someone to hack it, get into it, and actually see about a few things. They go walking over to his window. Him looking out and trying to look up at the stars. And Deku, when he's gonna walk over to his window, he's gonna pull back the curtain. Him gonna actually look outside and see someone out there. And it's kind of alarming to him. The person they stand there. And Deku, he just does get a stare back. They shouldn't be able to see him. But the fact of the matter is, it's not good. Now, Deku does try to tell Mina, there's a problem right now. What is it? There's someone outside. Now, Deku does a stir on, wondering what they might do. And the person, somebody's just gonna do one thing. They stare up at the window. Them possibly able to see Izuku. And Deku, he's gonna see them turn and walk away. Right now, them leading away from his house. And Deku, he doesn't give chase. This could be a possible ambush. He runs out and they take his parents. So, best to let them go. Right. Though that isn't good. Hey. Yeah? Maybe you should come over. There's something happening. There was someone outside staring at the house. Really? Yeah. It might be left open, but I don't know. Could also be someone else. I'll come over. Just give me a minute to get dressed. Mina gonna actually hang up. And Deku, he does it a wait. Mina coming over, as the two, they do hang out for a minute. And so far nothing has happened. And it does concern him. And with that being said, I do believe that is a good point to leave this off of. And I do hope you guys enjoyed. And to have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.